What transforms an ordinary man into a figure shrouded in mystery and controversy? How did a science fiction writer shape a movement that blends science, spirituality, and power, leaving an indelible mark on the modern world? Little was known about L. Ron Hubbard before he became the epicenter of Scientology, an organization that promised answers to the mysteries of the mind, but also left a trail of doubts, intrigue, and dark accusations. Welcome to another night where mysteries never sleep. I'm Midnight, and this is 7 Nights. Today, we'll uncover the secrets behind Hubbard's transition from a visionary writer to the leader of one of the most controversial movements of our time. Are we looking at a misunderstood genius or a master manipulator? Get ready for a journey where the line between truth and fiction dissolves, revealing the hidden layers of Scientology and its founder. Little was known about L. Ron Hubbard before he became the center of one of the modern world's most controversial movements. Born in 1911 in the United States, during a time when science and spirituality were beginning to intersect in unsettling ways, he showed an early fascination with fantastical stories, which later led him to prominence as a science fiction writer. His stories often explored futuristic themes and unknown worlds, perhaps a prelude to what he would go on to create. Hubbard was a restless man who abandoned a civil engineering degree to pursue his creative passions. When someone is fixed on an idea, it doesn't matter if it's engineering, medicine, or anything else. They'll chase their obsession, no matter the cost. However, it was during World War II that he claimed to have experienced events that transformed his worldview. Hubbard served in the Navy and alleged that he faced severe injuries and trauma that nearly incapacitated him. He claimed that it was through his own mind, using techniques he later developed in detail, that he healed himself from these injuries. This miraculous cure became the foundation of his most notable work, Dianetics, the modern science of mental health, published in 1950. The book proposed a revolutionary approach to overcoming mental and physical traumas, introducing the public to the idea that the mind's problems could be solved without traditional medical help. But could techniques created by a science fiction writer truly heal people? The mystery behind this claim attracted both fervent followers and staunch skeptics. Despite its apparent initial success, Hubbard faced harsh criticism from the scientific community. Psychologists and psychiatrists questioned the legitimacy of his approach, labeling it pseudoscience. However, this did not prevent Dianetics from becoming a bestseller and attracting an ever-growing number of followers. Hubbard's journey was just beginning, and what he would build in the following decades was something no one could have predicted. As the years went by, Hubbard began expanding his ideas, asserting that the human mind was not just a logical tool, but a gateway to spiritual dimensions. Spiritual dimensions. See how things always get more esoteric over time? It's like the next step is always something stranger. He believed that traumas weren't confined to the present life, but extended to past existences. Thus began the transition from therapeutic practices to a more complex system blending science, religion, and spirituality. This was the beginning of what he called Scientology. Hubbard died in 1986, but his legacy remains more alive than ever. Loved by some and hated by others, he left behind an empire that continues to attract millions of dollars and spark global controversy. His ideas, born in the post-war period, shaped not just a religion, but one of the most mysterious and divisive movements of our time. Initially, Dianetics was seen as a revolutionary therapeutic method. Auditing sessions, in which individuals answered guided questions to identify hidden traumas, were the central point of the process. Hubbard claimed that by eliminating so-called engrams, negative records of the reactive mind, people could achieve a state of mental clarity. However, something in the system began to change, and practices that were once presented as scientific started to take a more spiritual turn. In 1952, Hubbard announced an evolution in his techniques. He introduced the e-meter, an electronic device that he claimed could measure a person's emotional fluctuations during auditing sessions. It was an intriguing tool, but raised many questions about its efficacy. With this innovation, the transition from Dianetics to Scientology was officially underway. But why did Hubbard feel the need to change? The answer may lie in his desire to create something greater than a mere therapeutic practice. Hubbard began formulating deeper concepts, such as the belief that humans are actually thetans, immortal spiritual beings trapped in physical bodies. He believed these beings carried traumas from past lives and needed to be freed from these chains to achieve true enlightenment. It was a bold idea, promising something no traditional therapy could offer: spiritual transcendence. The founding of the First Church of Scientology in 1954 marked the moment when the movement ceased to be just a mental technique and became a religion. This also meant new legal protections for its practices, especially against criticism and scientific scrutiny. Hubbard was creating not just a doctrine, but also a system that shielded him from external questioning. However, the transition was not smooth. Many followers of Dianetics were unprepared to accept this new direction, while critics saw the transformation as a maneuver to escape regulations and taxes. Despite the controversies, Scientology grew rapidly, attracting new members and expanding its global influence. The story of the transition from Dianetics to Scientology is marked by mystery and controversy. Was it a natural progression for a man who always explored the boundaries between the real and the imaginary, or a carefully calculated strategy to build a powerful institution? The answer, like so much about Scientology, remains elusive. At the heart of Scientology are concepts that seem straight out of a science fiction novel, but represent profound truths about human existence to its followers. The central belief is that every human possesses a reactive mind and an analytical mind. According to the doctrine, the reactive mind is responsible for traumas called engrams, which obscure the analytical mind and prevent individuals from fully experiencing reality. To free themselves from these negative influences, Scientology members undergo sessions called auditing. During these sessions, conducted by a trained auditor, individuals answer a series of questions designed to identify and neutralize engrams. Using the e-meter, the auditor monitors the participants' emotional responses, believing this helps map traumas and facilitate their elimination. The goal is to reach the state of clear, where the reactive mind no longer interferes. But Scientology is not limited to the here and now. The religion claims that a person's traumas can stem from past lives, and that it is necessary to confront these ancestral memories to achieve true enlightenment. This idea of reincarnation is central to the doctrine, which views humans as thetans, immortal beings trapped in physical bodies. Freeing oneself from these chains is one of Scientology's greatest promises. Followers believe that by reaching higher levels in the church, called OT, operating thetan, they become spiritually superior. These levels can only be achieved through extensive training and financial contributions. Scientology's hierarchy is seen both as a path for personal development and as a form of control, as access to knowledge is restricted until the individual proves their worth or pays for it. For Scientologists, these practices are not just spiritual, but also practical. They claim that clear individuals are healthier, more creative, and ethically superior. However, critics question the efficacy of these techniques and accuse the church of using spirituality as a facade to gain profit and power. The combination of science, spirituality, and a promise of transcendence creates an air of mystery around Scientology. Yet this same mix raises doubts about what truly motivates this religion: the desire to enlighten humanity or to control its followers. From the start, Scientology understood the value of attracting celebrities to its ranks. Of course, throw a celebrity into the mix, and suddenly everything becomes trendy, right? It's almost a recipe for success. In 1969, the church opened its first celebrity center in Hollywood, a luxurious space dedicated to serving public figures. The idea was simple. If influential people adopted the religion, its message would reach a much larger audience. The plan worked, and Scientology became almost synonymous with stars like Tom Cruise and John Travolta. The center was not just a spiritual space, but also an exclusive networking environment. Celebrities were treated as special members, receiving personalized attention and access to advanced courses. This approach created an aura of glamour around the religion, making it even more appealing to artists and personalities seeking something unique. But what makes a celebrity join such a controversial religion? Many report being drawn by the promise of self-discovery and personal growth. Scientology offers a complete package: techniques to improve focus, achieve goals, and even overcome emotional challenges. For individuals in the spotlight, these promises can be irresistible. However, the involvement of celebrities also brought problems. Several former members reported that public figures receive privileged treatment and are shielded from many of the church's darker aspects. Documentaries and reports suggest that confessions made during auditing are used to blackmail celebrities, ensuring their loyalty to the organization. Tom Cruise, perhaps Scientology's most famous face, is often accused of being the church's poster boy. His connection with the religion has generated both support and criticism, especially when he publicly defended Scientologist beliefs in interviews. Many wonder whether he is a true believer or simply a strategic piece in a larger game. The presence of celebrities in Scientology is not just a curiosity, but a carefully crafted strategy. Behind the glamour of the stars lies a system that uses fame to legitimize a religion shrouded in mystery and controversy. From the 1960s onward, Scientology began expanding globally, opening churches in cities like London, Paris, and Vienna. Its global reach seemed limitless, and its leaders emphasized that the religion was not just American, but an international spiritual force. However, expansion brought to light a series of legal and cultural conflicts. In many countries, Scientology's practices were met with distrust. In Germany, for instance, the government classified the organization as a threat to democracy, banning Scientologists from holding public office. In France, the church faced fraud accusations and was nearly banned after investigations revealed practices deemed abusive. The biggest blow came in the United States, where Scientology fought a decades-long battle to be recognized as a religion. After numerous legal disputes, the organization achieved tax-exempt status in 1993. But this victory was accompanied by allegations that Scientology leaders intimidated authorities and used underhanded tactics to achieve their goals. These legal battles were not limited to governments. Former church members also took their complaints to court, alleging psychological abuse, forced labor, and coercive control. Many of these cases were settled out of court with confidentiality clauses, adding to the mystery surrounding the organization. Despite the controversies, Scientology continues to grow in many regions. Its followers claim the accusations are a result of prejudice and misunderstandings of their beliefs. Critics, however, argue that the religion's expansion is driven more by economic power than spiritual messages. Scientology's relationship with the law is a game of cat and mouse. For its leaders, each legal victory is proof of legitimacy. For its detractors, it's further evidence of how the organization manipulates legal systems to protect its secrets. Behind the facade of spiritual enlightenment, Scientology is often accused of chilling practices ranging from emotional manipulation to forced labor. Accounts from former members reveal a rigid hierarchical system where followers are subjected to intense pressure to obey the church's rules. Many of these accounts include descriptions of sinister places, such as the Hole, an alleged punishment center where disobedient leaders are held under degrading conditions. According to witnesses, the internal environment of the church is marked by extreme psychological control. The policy of disconnection, for example, requires members to cut ties completely with family and friends who criticize Scientology. To followers, this is justified as a way to protect their spirituality. To critics, it's a brutal isolation tactic that reinforces total dependence on the church. Another alarming point is the existence of the so-called Rehabilitation Project Force, where members who fail to meet expectations are sent to punitive labor camps. In these locations, they are subjected to grueling work hours and deprivation of basic rights, all under the guise of spiritual rehabilitation. The situation is even more troubling when it comes to children, who are placed in work positions from a very young age with little to no formal education. Auditing, a central practice of Scientology, also carries a shadow of control. During these sessions, members confess traumas and personal secrets, which the church allegedly uses to blackmail them if they try to leave. It's a system that, critics say, turns trust into a tool for manipulation. Numerous documentaries and books have brought these practices to light, but the church vehemently denies all accusations. Its leaders claim that the allegations are fabricated by disgruntled former members and opponents who do not understand their beliefs. Yet the growing number of witnesses sharing similar stories raises troubling questions. These accusations have made Scientology one of the world's most controversial movements. While its defenders claim unjust persecution, the evidence suggests that something much darker operates behind the scenes. Among the strangest aspects of Scientology is a story that seems straight out of a science fiction script. It involves Xenu, a galactic dictator who... Xenu, a galactic dictator? Buddy, if you told me this at a bar, I'd think it was a joke or that you'd had too much to drink. According to internal church documents, caused catastrophic events on Earth 75 million years ago. This narrative, known only to members who reach the highest levels of the hierarchy, mixes extraterrestrials, volcanic explosions, and a cosmic past. According to the secret doctrine, Xenu transported billions of souls to Earth in spacecraft resembling airplanes. These souls were then deposited into volcanoes and destroyed with hydrogen bombs, creating spiritual traumas that persist to this day. These entities, called thetans, are said to be trapped in human bodies, negatively influencing their lives. This account is revealed only to members who reach the level of OT3, which requires years of dedication and significant financial contributions. Many ex-members have reported that upon discovering the story of Xenu, they felt deceived, considering it too absurd to take seriously. Filmmaker Paul Haggis, a prominent ex-member, described this revelation as the breaking point that led him to leave the church. The story of Xenu is kept secret by the church, which considers it sacred knowledge. However, leaks and whistleblowers have made these details public, sparking significant controversy. For critics, it exposes Scientology as an organization built on fantastical stories to manipulate its followers. For church leaders, it's a case of persecution aimed at discrediting their beliefs. The mystery surrounding Xenu raises an intriguing question. How did such a fantastic narrative manage to attract millions of followers over the decades? Perhaps the answer lies in Scientology's ability to blend spirituality, science, and exclusivity, creating a sense of belonging that transcends logic. As absurd as it may seem, the story of Xenu remains one of Scientology's pillars. For some, it's a symbol of faith. For others, it's a reminder of how far a belief system can go to capture the imagination and the wallets of its adherents. In recent decades, Scientology has faced increasing scrutiny, especially following the release of documentaries like Going Clear, Scientology, and the Prison of Belief. This work, based on testimonies from former members, revealed chilling aspects of the organization, from financial exploitation to coercive practices. For many, it was the first time the shadows behind the church's bright facade were exposed. The documentary highlighted allegations of emotional blackmail. During auditing sessions, members are encouraged to share their most intimate secrets. However, these confessions, which are supposed to be used for spiritual healing, are reportedly stored by the church and used as a control tool. Even celebrities like John Travolta are said to have remained in Scientology out of fear that sensitive information would be disclosed. Another critical point addressed in the documentary was the church's tax-exempt status. Former members and experts argue that Scientology uses its status as a religion to avoid taxes while operating as a business organization. Leaked documents suggest that the church has amassed assets worth over $1 billion, while its members endure abusive working conditions and mandatory financial contributions. The existence of punitive labor camps was also exposed, particularly within the Rehabilitation Project force. Reports describe locations where rebellious members are sent to perform exhausting tasks under constant surveillance. These practices, according to critics, resemble a punishment system more than a spiritual path. Despite the revelations, Scientology retains a loyal base of followers who vehemently deny the accusations. Its leaders claim that critical documentaries and books are part of a conspiracy to discredit the religion. However, the evidence presented by former members continues to paint a disturbing picture of the organization. The investigations into Scientology raise a question that persists to this day. How does something so controversial thrive in the 21st century? Perhaps the real mystery lies in the church's ability to reinvent itself and silence its critics, maintaining its power and influence intact. After Ron Hubbard's death in 1986, Scientology's leadership was taken over by David Miscavige, a figure who divides opinions both within and outside the church. Young and charismatic, Miscavige quickly consolidated his power, ensuring Scientology's continued growth and relevance. However, his leadership is shrouded in mystery, allegations of abuse, and an inflexible stance that has defined a new era for the organization. Miscavige is widely credited with securing religious status for Scientology in the United States, gaining tax exemption, and strengthening the church's financial foundations. Under his leadership, the organization accumulated billions in assets and expanded its global presence. However, these achievements have been accompanied by controversies, particularly due to allegations of aggressive tactics against critics and former members. Former church members accuse Miscavige of ruling with an iron fist, maintaining almost totalitarian control over followers. Reports indicate that he is directly involved in intimidation tactics such as surveillance, harassment, and blackmail. The documentary Going Clear points to Miscavige as the architect of many of Scientology's harshest policies, including isolating critics and using information obtained during auditing sessions to coerce members. One of the most emblematic cases related to Miscavige's leadership is the disappearance of his wife, Shelley Miscavige. Several former members claim she has not been seen publicly since 2007, leading to speculation about her whereabouts and safety. Although the church denies any wrongdoing, the mystery surrounding Shelley has become a symbol of Scientology's secrecy and internal control. Despite the controversies, Miscavige remains a central figure in the organization, appearing at high-profile events and delivering speeches to crowds of followers. Many see him as the guardian of Hubbard's vision, while others view him as the primary enabler of the church's darkest aspects. His absolute dominance raises questions about Scientology's future and whether it will survive the growing external criticisms. As new generations emerge and society becomes increasingly connected, Scientology faces unprecedented challenges. Miscavige's role in shaping the church's response will be crucial, but it could also determine whether the organization remains a fascinating enigma or declines into obscurity. After all, the future of Scientology is as enigmatic as its origins. Scientology remains one of the world's most mysterious and controversial organizations, attracting both devotion and distrust. Are its practices the key to a new era of enlightenment, or merely an elaborate facade for manipulation and profit? This story is just one piece of the puzzle in one day. Perhaps we'll see the whole picture. If this made you think, subscribe and like the video. It helps the channel grow. Don't forget to share, because more voices mean more discoveries. If you've made it this far, it's because something in this mystery captivated you. But I bet you haven't seen everything yet. Click on the next videos now to continue your journey into the unknown. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe so you don't miss the next secrets I'm about to reveal. But be careful, once you step inside, there's no turning back.